So I wasn't planning on doing a video today, but somebody reached out and said, hey, I like that video you did on the back porch. So I thought, okay, I'll do another one. I guess I'm easy. I roll over easy like that. For some reason my voice feels a little hoarse. I guess I'll share about a meditation that I did yesterday. It took me a while to get into the groove of this meditation, where I just let my breaths go long and smooth. It probably took 45 minutes to get there. Those of you who meditate, I think will probably understand what I mean. You switch into this pattern where your breaths are just smooth and long and slow, and everything's relaxed physically, mentally, and there's just so much focus and clarity. It took me a long time to get to it yesterday, but I finally got there. The main issue was not expecting anything, of course. But I got into the meditation and met with my counsel, but they didn't want to talk. Like, everybody just kind of, I could feel their presences. They didn't really want to talk. So I continued meditating for some reason. And I ascended higher and higher and eventually found myself in what I'll call the Sky Lounge, which sounds like an airport Sky Lounge, but it was this room, a large room with one wall that was completely glass, very tall glass, and there was a table, and you could sit at this table and stare out the window, and when you looked out, it was clouds just below the room. So it's almost as though you were in a tower, and the top floor was above the clouds. And I connected there. There was no furnishings. It was really just Spartan, and this thin, flimsy table and like a simple chair, like you might find in a cafeteria. And I didn't really want this image. This isn't what I wanted. I don't know what I wanted, but I immediately was like, okay, let's move on. And I felt a presence really encouraged me to just kind of stay there. They didn't make themselves seen. I didn't get a name. There wasn't anything like that. It was just sort of like somebody touching my shoulder saying, no, be here. So I settled into that space, and when I did, it felt familiar. It felt like a kind of home base, is the best way now to put it. I won't go into the whole meditation, but I've had similar visions, such as those that arose in this space, where these kind of memories that I could access, like M7's memories throughout time. And I'll get away from some of the overly grandiose stuff, some of the really high-level stuff, because it's just hard to relate, I think. But I had this, one of the visions was I'm staring out this window, and all of a sudden I'm in Egypt, in ancient Egypt. And in ancient Egypt, I kind of settle in, and I'm in a person's body, an incarnation of mine. And I had been told something about this incarnation in the past, but I had never really had this kind of direct experience. And what I am is I'm one of the chief architects for Ramses II in ancient Egyptian empire. Ramses II built some of the most stunning and remarkable monuments in the world, and he had architects help him, obviously. And I was one of them, and I don't know, I don't want to put a name to it. I was just told, I've been told I was the chief architect under Ramses II. Again, take that as you will. And I remember, and in this vision, in this meditation, I turn and I see Ramses, and I can feel his presence. And we're friendly. You know, he respects me, but he's definitely got a very strong presence, a very strong leader. And he had no delusions about what leadership was or how to rule a large population. But I just remember while I'm in this vision and I'm standing in this form, in this person, I'm remembering that I knew in that time what I was. I knew that I was part of a large collective. I knew that I was on Earth to help Earth. I knew that one of the things that Ramses was doing and that we were doing together, and some of it he understood and some of it I think he did not understand. But we were creating these huge symbols and these huge impressive structures to amplify the energy of Egypt and ancient Egypt. The symbols and the structures that we were building would stand as very impressive forms and in the desert and in Egypt. And this would amplify the importance of Egypt and Egypt culture. It would strengthen the people. It would strengthen the empire in a way. And all of that served to form this huge channel of energy through which a lot of higher wisdom and higher knowledge would flow. And there's a respect and a reverence that the Western world had for the Egyptian culture to some degree as a result of the things that were left behind and the impressive works that were left behind. And that's really important because, you know, if the Hittites or the Canaanites or any of the other competing civilizations had wiped out Egypt before it had really established a long history of these monuments and this strong culture, you know, obviously we wouldn't have had that, and hieroglyphics may not have even been that interesting and so forth, or they might have just wiped out everything, every memory of the Egyptians, for all we know. So that was cool. And then once I realized that I went back to the Sky Lounge again, and once I realized that this was a central space from which I could access all kinds of things, I chose to go into the future and visit Jen, which is a future incarnation of mine. She's an Asian woman, and it was at first it was hard to find her. I did find her, and she's a 20-something in this meditation. She was 20-something years old, pretty, smart, and dangerous. Those were the words that came to mind. In the sense that she too, before the age of 30, learned who she was. And she has psychic gifts, and she's intelligent. And I see her in a wealthy family. She comes from a wealthy family. There's a certain amount of security and confidence that comes with that. You know, she has a certain freedom from fear. And all of that is these benefits gained because Matt, which is me right now, worked hard enough to kind of chip away at some of the obstacles, the internal obstacles. And so the energy was free to flow, and all the blessings and positivity of being myself on Earth could really manifest through Jen. And she's standing, the walls of this skyscraper, maybe not skyscraper, but it's a tall building, are all glass on the outside. And she's standing at the outer wall of glass, and she's just looking out over this city at nighttime. It's an Asian city. I think it's in China. And I'm looking at them thinking it's pretty. And she's smiling and she's happy. But she's also got this mischievous gleam in her eye because she's free. I mean, she can do whatever she wants, and she knows it, and she utilizes that freedom. And I connected with that, again, that energy that's mine in another body. And it was really cool. I enjoyed that. There were some other visions, but some of those had a lot of grandiosity. I'll give you an example. I say grandiosity, I mean, it just, for a human, it just sounds grandiose. I've had this scene in my mind before. And it's similar to this Sky Lounge thing, but it's not. It's more like I am part of an office building. And I'm in this, what they call the control room. And I'm looking out, all the glass of the outer skin of this building is all glass. And, you know, you could see 360 degrees, and it's a city. And the city is all these civilizations that I've visited and that have been to some degree integrated into this huge network. Now, if you want to think of it as at a physical level, all these civilizations exist in different universes or different galaxies. They're all spread out, but they've all made a certain degree of choice in their development. Or they're just simply part of this network. And each civilization, although it may span multiple planets, from the control room, each civilization is just one building. And so there's this cityscape. I'm surrounded by all these buildings, and each building, for as far as the eye can see, is a civilization. And I'm looking out across all these, and part of my job is to assign resources to help these civilizations when they have needs. So I send people who can help them in particular ways. And in one of these visions, one of these buildings is on fire. And there's smoke coming out, and I'm like, all right, send in this crew and have them do this. And I'll go if I need to, kind of a thing. Anyway, one of the visions from the Sky Lounge, the initial one, was kind of a 5 minutes of standing there and sort of connecting with that role and all the things that come with it. And anyway, you get it. So that was one meditation. What's going on otherwise right now in Matt World? Work has got me busy. I'm working on the Path of Courage website. When I say working on it, most of it's in my head. There's a few things on the website if you choose to go there. But I'm not doing a whole lot right now because I'm still in the conception stages. I just didn't want to have a blank space for Path of Courage. But you might enjoy the resources section. There's some videos that I continue to add to that. So I guess that's it. That's all I wanted to say. I'm out. You see me looking around. I'm enjoying this beautiful nature kind of view. It's not terribly impressive, but it's nice and peaceful. And all the birds and the trees. So that's that. All right. Thanks for visiting matt7.com, and I hope everyone is having a good week. And I look forward to doing another video.